What's going on, y'all? So listen, girl, what's going on? We back again for another episode review of the Shy season 7, episode 9, Last Respects or something like that. Girl, let's just get into it. If I can sum this episode up, and if I can sum the end of this season up, because I don't even know how many more episodes we got, whether we got one more episode or we got like 6 more episodes. Either way, I'm fine with it, okay? But at the same time, we can sum this up as Reginald Taylor gotta go. And you know I'm mad, and I don't give a damn about you if I'm using your government, the whole government. I don't know if he got a middle name, but Reginald Taylor has to go, okay? And he knew what he did was messed up. You saw it in his face. All right, let's just get into it. Let me tell you something. If you didn't see last week's episode, I don't understand why you're here, okay? Go back and look at last week and then come back and look at this one. Because last week, Damian got his ass in trouble. Daddy was trying to get his ass some help, go to Gamblers Anonymous. He went up there pussyfooting around, okay? Came back, got himself in some issues with Reg, a little friendly bet for $5,000, knowing damn well you ain't had the money, right? And you couldn't just say no. You already told him, I ain't got that money. I ain't got that money. I already owe motherfuckers. And it was like, so? And truth be told, when you go back and you look at it, Hannibal finally realized what Brandon's cousin's name was. Hannibal. This whole season I've been calling him Brandon's cousin. But Hannibal and Reg wasn't even really like pushing him that hard to be like, go ahead. Bet on it. I bet you won or whatever. So he easily could have said no. And he could have stuck to it. Baby, I can't wait to take this down and get it retwisted. Look at that. Just a whole bunch of new growth, and it's just, woo. But anyway, he could have got his ass up and he could have just left if he felt a little pressure. But no, he went on ahead. He lost a little bet. And he said that, you got to owe him $5,000. Mind you, you already know that you ain't got the money. You told them that you ain't got the money. And that's exactly why he went on ahead and said, try to, play on him or whatever. Because he knew that you weren't going to come up with that money. He said, come up with it tomorrow night. You get $4,000. Okay? You give him the $4,000. And could be possible that he gave him a little bit more than $4,000 because ain't no telling how much Damian already had on him of his own personal money. He still was short. Now, when this situation happened, I was okay with it, to be quite honest, because if you go into a bet, you got to pay the consequences if you lose. You either owe the money, and like Reg said, he was going to whoop his ass if he don't. So he whooped his ass. And to be quite honest, he didn't even do that much, They act like Reg is really the boogeyman, okay? They really act like he the boogeyman, and I need y'all to get together and beat the boogeyman's ass, okay? And take his ass out, Because what is he, Michael Myers? Everybody's scared of him. What is he, Jason? Like, oh my God, just pop the nigga, you know what I'm saying? We need to gang up. But when he whooped his ass, he didn't even go that hard. If you ask me, okay, you got a little bloody nose, you had a little blood coming out your mouth because he stumped you in the chest. Okay, fine. He could have did you so much worse by putting you in a hospital. And yeah, it's a possibility that he didn't do that much because Hannibal was there and he stopped him. But it's also Reg. If he wanted to go that hard, he would have went that hard. You know what I'm saying? And he let him walk out. Okay? He let him walk out, run out, whatever. So you go into your brother's home after you done stole from his goddamn job, and he's still letting you come stay up in his house, and you get yourself into this situation knowing, regardless of how Emmett may be mad at you, he believes in that. I'm my brother's keeper. And I don't know who wouldn't want to go beat somebody's ass if they family member come in and you see them messed up like that. And he just got incensed and he enraged and he was like, this is my little brother. I'm the only nigga that put hands on him. Okay? I'm the only nigga that do stuff like that. And I don't even do nothing like that. Let me go take care of this. Because what you're not going to do is play with my little brother. That's what he did. And Reg wound up, because he was getting his ass whooped, and that's literally what it all comes down to. He was getting his ass whooped, and he pulled out the gun and he shot Emmett. The look on his face, he knew he fucked up. He knew this was one of those ones that was going to be like, damn, I can't get away with this. I can't get away with this because there's too many people in the city that actually ride and will ride for Emmett, okay? They showed something for the preview or whatever, previous season where Emmett said if something happened to him, the city gonna ride from or whatever, and that is, you're gonna fuck the city up with this one, and that's exactly what's happening. Like, the people's gonna ride for him. And so, you know, Emmett is in the bathroom. We see Hannibal comes in. Hannibal winds up taking him out because Reg ain't gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? But Reg is kind of freaking out just slightly, you know, because it is Emmett. And you're like, he came up in here, he attacked me. That's how he trying to phrase it. And I know, I mean, I get it. Yeah, he did come in there and he attacked you in your place, was technically Jake's place. But you did attack his brother first. So, you know, let's be honest. He didn't come in there and just do it for no reason. And it's because it's you, okay? We know how your psychotic ass is. So let me strike first before you try to strike at me. You know, that type of situation. And so he wound up, and it really irked me. It really, oh my God. Maybe because I look at too many movies or too many of these shows, these doctor shows or whatever, even like the real ones or whatever. The way that Hannibal pulled Emmett out of that house, out of that room, Jake's place. And I was just like, oh my God, he got a chest wound. He got a chest wound. And it looked like, you know, because of the way that he was bleeding, that means he was bleeding from his back because it was more blood coming out the back than it was spilling over from the stab on the front. So I'm like, damn, that must have been a through and through. And I'm thinking, oh my God, it went through his lungs. His lungs probably collapsed because he on that floor gasping. And I'm like, oh my goodness, please, you go move. Like, no, don't move him. And I'm sitting here thinking like, you know, I'm thinking a little bit too deeply. Okay, like, damn, what if the bullet didn't come out? What if it's still lodged up in there? And that's why all the blood coming out and everything. I said, oh my God, you're moving the bullet. You're moving the bullet. Don't pull him out like that. Get the ambulance. Get the ambulance. But of course, we can't do that because if they have the ambulance and the people come to the house, Reg's gonna get arrested if he stay. Because he's supposed to already be in jail anyway for all the stuff that he done. That's why he was gone. Plus, you know, they shot him and he had to stay undercover. You know, that type of situation. He got a lot of shit on him. And then Detective Toussaint is looking for his ass. Oh, yeah. So you got that going on. Hannibal was the one that took Emmett to the hospital. And here's my thing when it comes to Hannibal. I don't understand, and I need a backstory. Maybe I forgot. Maybe they showed it in previous seasons, but how did Hannibal and Reggie become so good friends to the point that the only one that has not been crossed by Reginald, that he has not talked ill of, has not threatened or whatever in that way, even he do it to his own little brother, but he won't do it to Hannibal. Like, Hannibal is literally safe, and he comfortable enough to be around that man, okay? Because when I look at Hannibal, I don't look at nobody that's intimidated to be cool with somebody like that. But, you know, it be the ones that be the quiet ones that you really got to look out for. I thought Hannibal just sell his little weed that he be growing in his own little plant, and that's it. I ain't know he hung out with the likes of Reginald. Okay? So, yeah, he went and took him to the hospital. Everybody's coming to the hospital. Damian, I'm going to be real with you. Darnell took it real easy on you. Jada took it easy, too. Jada really wasn't mad. Jada was more worried about her son. And I feel like it was the reaction that she was giving because, one, she already know and accepted the fact that she's not going to be here long enough. So it's like, why waste time being angry at people? You know, I still need to embrace people and love people and all that stuff or whatever. And this was an accident. He didn't mean for this to happen. That's reasonable. That's how I feel like Jada was thinking, and that's why she didn't get so upset at him. But when Darnell got pissed off at him, and Darnell said if anything happened to him, or if you go out and you gamble again, you're going to be out our lives forever, okay? And Jada said, don't say those words. He said, I said those words, and I mean those words. Now, the way that Darnell went off on Damian because he found out that he was gambling and the whole reason behind this whole situation and why his face looked the way that it is, Damian, you are so fortunate because I know many of people who would have kicked your ass out. They would have jumped your ass again, okay? And I'm talking about the family, especially out here in Chicago, would have whooped your ass again, and you would not be able to come around, okay? No. And I just wouldn't even feel comfortable coming around at that time, you know, being around everybody knowing that like, he got to live with that. I almost got my brother killed. Because I couldn't control my gambling habits. I almost took my brother away from his 3 sons, away from the woman that he loves, away from the child that he has yet to see. Bitch, maybe that's why Jada didn't say nothing. Because she already know he going to be having to think about that for the rest of his life. That's going to be on his shoulders. And I just want to be able to come around because I feel so guilty. Because how do you make up for that? How do you make up for that? You know, you in the what is it? The waiting room crying and, you know, soaking to yourself. And I swear to God, I would have been like, the fuck you crying for? I'm so sorry. What? You weren't crying when you was doing all the gambling and stuff, you know? But hey, lessons learned. We got to learn. Sometimes you got to go through some shit to learn some shit. And baby, this may be his rock bottom. And this will be the thing that he needs to wake his ass up to say, listen, I got to get this under control. I have to get this under control. No more. No more. Baby, I'm going to do right. 3LW, you know? And so I felt bad for Keisha and Tiffany in a sense because Tiffany... So they really were married at one point, right? Because when they came to the hospital and everybody was running in there trying to get to him and to see him, the nurse wouldn't let her in, wouldn't let Keisha in. She was like, I'm practically married to him. She said, well, practically and basically, that ain't the same thing as actually. So when it comes to this marriage situation, this made me remember and understand a little bit more, which I already remember, or I knew, but this is part of a benefit and reason why some people who are in relationships would get married. Because if something happens to you, I don't want to be in those... Well, do I really want to be in them? I still don't want to get married. But I can understand after seeing this again, and we see it all the time. Like if you're not married or you're not really technically family, you can't go back and see the person until it's actual visited hours. You know what I'm saying? And that really crushed me the way that Keisha, who is literally his life partner at this point, that's his girlfriend, that's the mother of his soon-to-be child, that's basically the stepmama to his kids, okay? And he's stepdaddy to her son without them actually being married, but she still has no rights. She can't go in there, she can't say, oh, don't give him this, don't give him that, don't do this, don't do that, because she legally don't have any rights. And then Tiffany said, well, I'm his ex-wife, I can't go back there. No, you can't, because you have no rights. Y'all not married, y'all not family or nothing like that in the eyes of the law at this point. And so the only people that could go back there was his actual family, his mom and his daddy and his brother. You know what I'm saying? And I felt so bad for Tiffany and Keisha, but mostly Keisha. But also Tiffany. You see how Tiffany was just like withdrawn. And I feel like she was still in the state, and we didn't even get that much into it. Whereas I feel like Keisha and Tiffany were going through the same things. Now, this is me getting a little deep or whatever. Maybe I'm going a little bit, reaching a little bit. But I feel like they was going through the same things. You know what I'm saying? Going through the same emotions because they do have ties to this man. And they do love him equally. Keisha is in love with him, but they both love him equally, right? Tiffany, he's the father of her son. Her son. Keisha and Tiffany are best friends. That's Keisha's baby daddy coming up. That's her man and all that. But see, the connection with Emmett and Keisha is a little bit deeper because of the simple fact that they're together and they be inside each other all the time or playing with each other. That connection is deep. So of course she freaking out and she got his baby. You know what I'm saying? And she outwardly, you could just tell that she's going through it. She couldn't even stay there and just sit around and wait. She had to go busy herself. The emotion is outwardly being shown. She had to go and open up Smokey, make sure everything was together just to keep her mind busy because he was in surgery. And then once he comes out of surgery, he got to go through recovery and see if he will wake up. And ain't no telling when or if he would wake up. You know what I'm saying? And so to keep her mind busy off of that from going crazy, she had to keep herself going. So let me go take care of his business. And it's not about her. It's about him. I don't want his business to fail. Let me go ahead and take care of that. Whereas when you see Tiffany, it just looked like she is not there. And I feel like that she looked dejected. It feel like as if in her mind, she's probably still thinking like, damn, another one. I literally just lost my man, the father of my unborn child, and now I'm about to lose my other baby daddy? Or is a possibility that something's going to be wrong with my other baby daddy? Like her body is in shock if you ask me. Her emotions are in shock. And then you got Alicia coming through. And I said, Alicia, this ain't the time. Okay? But what Alicia did was actually good. Alicia came through and basically said, first of all, I know that ain't right. First of all, Alicia said, I'm sorry for your loss. I said, excuse me. Emmett is in surgery, okay? Calm down. It was like, he ain't dead yet. Okay, well, calm that down. And then Alicia did ask, do you have a will? She was like, girl, what are you talking about? Yeah, you need to talk about this. When you get into relationships, and y'all, not even just relationships, family, and I realized this, especially after the health scare that my mom had, we got all of that stuff together, After dealing with the death of my father, dealing with the health scare that my mom had, oh yeah, we get all those paperwork together. Make sure you got the lawyers, this put out, that put out. You got your insurance, you got your box or a bin or a drawer or whatever. They got all your important papers and all that stuff. So if something do happen, your people can find it with no trouble. You know what I'm saying? And so Alicia was good in that regard. She said, you got to get yourself a will. Now, I understood where Tiffany was coming from. Tiffany said, well, I get my own lawyer. Alicia said, well, your lawyers ain't as good as mine. And at that point, I was just like, Alicia be coming from a good place sometimes, but then you just don't know because it's Lynn Whitfield. And she just gives you classy evil all the time in her looks. And I love it. Because I be like, girl, are you for real? Or are you about to do something devious? Okay, she was very devious. But when she sat down with the lawyer, what wound up happening is she did say, she basically put Tiffany in charge of her estate if something happens to her. And I was shocked by that. Me and Tiffany said, wait a minute, what the fuck? The baby got a trust fund. Tiffany got discretionary funds that she got access to, that she could use whenever she needs to. Plus, she also, I'm sorry, my sister just got home from her cruise and it's chaos over there. Oh my God, that is so funny. But, yeah. So you got all of that going on, right? And she was like, well, girl, you doing all this and then you gonna put me in charge of your estate if something happened? Well, I guess. I mean, at this point, she the closest thing that she got to her. And in Alicia's mind, she thinking about her grandchild. That's basically just what it is, This whole theme of legacy keep coming up and coming up and coming up. And speaking of which, I need Jamal and Dom gone. Because I don't give a fuck about them. Why they come to the hospital and they going back and forth about having kids and he's still on this legacy thing and he want to, go to a church pastor for counseling instead of going to an actual therapist. Bitch, send me to an actual therapist, okay, who has a degree in therapy, a degree in all of this stuff. I don't need a pastor, okay? No, not in that sense, all right, because you're dealing with a person that it don't even seem like Dom even believe in God at this point, okay? Because every time God or the church or whatever get mentioned, she gets very much like she's an atheist or like she got church hurt, but which is understandable because I got it too. But I'm just like, why would you bring that up with a person like her? And so she said, I'm willing to go to therapy. They go to a therapist and Dom hit it on the head and asked the question that needed to be asked. Why do you want to have kids so bad? Do you want to have kids just to say that you got kids, or do you want to have kids because you really want to be a father and expect all the responsibilities to be a father? And he don't even know why. He want to have kids just to say that he had kids and to pass on his legacy. The fuck is your legacy? I hate when y'all keep on talking about the legacy. What is your legacy? What are you leaving behind? You literally just got out of prison. You was working at Smokey. What do you got? What are you leaving behind? At this point, because things can happen later on in the future. But you talking about legacy, what exactly are you leaving behind? What? The fact that you still, I don't know. Okay? And I'm just like, y'all never should have got married. You never should have got married. Moving on from them, I don't care to see them. But Dom did offer her cousins to come over and to help with the Smokey situation and Lene. So instead of Serena coming, and y'all remember Serena is the one who was the deaf, or I should say the hard of hearing, the hearing impaired. I got to be politically correct because I don't want nobody to try to come for me and say, I said something wrong. I ain't trying to get canceled out here. But the hearing impaired, hopefully I'm saying that right. One that was fucking around, the stud that was fucking around with goddamn Katie. Now, bitch, I thought we was gonna see her. We saw her friend, okay? And I said she looked familiar. Who is she? I can't place her. She looked familiar. But now let me tell you something, Miss Mamas. You would have came up in there and you doing all that talking, especially when Keisha, her man is in the hospital. She was like, yeah, my nigga or my brother or whatever, he got shot. And I said, now hold on. The motherfuckers came in there, they tried to take his ass out too. I said, well, you trying to relate to me? I am fresh in the throes of trying to get to my man, okay? And he just got hurt, and you trying to comfort me or whatever? She was like, well, yeah, you know, he made it through, and I'm pretty sure your nigga make it through too or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. And just for that little interview or whatever, Keisha said you hired. And I said, girl, what? Okay, that's cool. Meanwhile, we get to Victor, and I hate that this is finna happen. We get Victor, because he was at the hospital too. Victor, who hemmed him up? Oh my God. Damian. Did Damian hem him up? Who hemmed him up? Nuck. It was Nuck. Nuck hemmed up Jake, I believe. And he was trying to see where the fuck his brother was at. Mind you, Nuck had went over there and was talking to Hannibal. First of all, again, this is what I'm saying, with all these guest appearances, it's just too many. It's too many. We got another one. And I feel like that girl who was the one that with Keisha, is she Amber Ruffin? Or did she come off of Saturday Night Live or something like that? Is that her? I could be wrong. You know, I get my gays mixed up a lot. She looks so familiar. But no, we got her. I'm pretty sure she's somebody. And then we get Kyla Pratt. I said, what? I said, what is happening? So we're gonna get a new face that we already know every episode. Now, granted, if it makes sense, it makes sense. But I just feel like I want to give some people. I like the fact that these people are getting little jobs, but I know that these are going to be like small roles and we're not going to see them consistently. So give it to somebody smaller, because I would like my people to the ones that's, you know, our season to be in something that they're going to be in continuously, you know, if you get what I'm saying. But yeah. And so Kyla is Hannibal's wife. Me and Nuck said, nigga, I didn't know you was married. Bitch, I thought the nigga was a little, you know what I'm saying? I really did, to be quite honest. And he had to keep it on the low, because you know Reggie homophobic as shit. Okay, whether man or woman, he homophobic as hell, you know. And so he was just keeping it on the low because that's Reg. But no, Hannibal got a wife. I said, all right. And let me tell you something. I'm going to be real with y'all. Listen, y'all already know I'm getting shit. But if I was straight, the type of nigga that I would be attracted to or most likely end up with is a nigga with a build like Hannibal, or with a little bit of gut, just slightly, or a little thick ass, stocky ass nigga like Nuck. Nuck is fine as shit. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. And Hannibal is cute too. Okay? So it'd be a mixture of them, you know. Nuck got a thick ass neck. And Nuck got one of those faces that look like if he shaved his beard and his mustache, he'll still be alright. Because you know sometimes the way the makeup be fooling us with the women, y'all beards and y'all goatees and y'all hats do the same thing for y'all niggas, okay? And some of y'all can pull it off, some of y'all can't. Some of us can pull it off, some of us can't. So it is what it is. He just gives me that, he can give that, you know. And he a Chicago nigga too. Hey, Nuck, you know. Yeah. And Nuck basically said, Hannibal, you need to keep an eye on Reg, because I need to know where his location is going to be at, because 9 out of 10, he's going to be needing a place to stay. And eventually that's what will end up happening. And he going to give it to the cops. When Hannibal realized that he was working with the cops, he was like, basically looking at him like he was a snitch or something. And I said, don't do that, because Nuck has to check his ass. Now, if you don't do this shit, you 9 out of 10 is going to be next on his list that he fuck over. So to protect yourself, you need to get on board with me. And at first, Nuck wanted him to let him stay over there at his place. Bitch, Kyla said absolutely the fuck not. And if you let this nigga up in my goddamn house, bitch, you're gonna be sleeping on the couch. Hannibal did not hesitate. He said, listen, I love you. You know, I love my wife a little bit too much. I need to be sleeping in that, okay? Not on nobody's couch. Hell no, because I love my wife too much. And I said, I like that. I like that. But, yeah, but he did say he was going to help him out, though. So, Victor is pissed off. And he was talking to Rashad and Jake and everything. And they basically came to the conclusion that they're done with him. Victor is done with him forever. And he's getting back those reasoning why he did not fuck with him in the first place. He is a lost cause. And Jake wanted him out his apartment. Jake wanted Victor to tell him to get out. And Victor said, absolutely the fuck not. You need to open up your mouth and be a fucking man and step to this nigga for once in your life. Because that's why he keep doing what he doing. Because you keep letting him control you. Okay? You grown now. Or at least you almost. You know, you still 18, 19 years old, whatever. But still, you want to be a man? Let's do men things. Stand up for your fucking self. Rashad said, that's your brother. And I said, me is, so what? Toxic is a motherfucker. You see what his brother has done. You see what he's done to Jake, took over his place, tried to get him in trouble ever since he was a kid. What type of fucking role model is that? You should be and if that's his brother or whatever, let them, that's family business. I know you friend of the family, you're not technically family, though. Let them handle that shit, okay? You see what the fuck he did, though. Come on now, Rashad. All right, you can't be super saver nigga all the damn time, okay? Sometimes niggas gotta pay for the consequences. They gotta pay consequences for what they do, you know? And so they did go over there to Jake's place. And Victor told him to get the fuck out of his place. And he was like, you can't tell me nothing. This ain't your place. Jake opened up his mouth and said, get the fuck out, nigga. And I said, damn, Jake. Now, this is what got me. One thing about it, two things for sure. I cannot stand a motherfucker that want to play victim and act stupid when people turn on them. Okay? As if they did not do anything wrong and warranted of it, right? So when they said, get the fuck out because what you did was fucked up and all this shit, that nigga was coming at me. Y'all gonna do this to me? Hell yeah, nigga, we gonna do this to you. Look what you've been doing to us all these goddamn years. And you got the nerve to get up in your feelings and be like, oh, you gonna pick that other nigga over me? Yes. Because every time we chose you, you fucked it up. And you put our lives in danger. Okay? So yes. And obviously, if they keep choosing everybody over you because you keep on doing shit, maybe you need to do something different. But he that type of nigga that's hard-headed and it's his way and no other way. There is no reforming Reginald, okay? You put his ass in jail, he's going to go in there for a few years and he's going to get out and going to do the same thing, okay? That's why I say either put him in jail and let him get shanked in jail like they did on BMF to old girl. Like, come on. Mind you, I haven't started watching this new season of BMF yet. And I'm pretty sure they over 5 episodes in. The season probably halfway or damn near done. But anyway, so yeah. So he get upset, he leaves, and he go over there to Candace's house. Candace played by Reagan Gomez. And y'all know her. She plays Zaria on Parenthood. And I said, why they got Reagan on here just playing a damn bird bitch for the Reg of all niggas? And then come to find out, shout out to Cleo Trapper because that is a classic. I can never get over that. She really took down Ice Spice. Have you realized that? Because where is she? Where is Ice Spice? Anyway, she over there, come to find out, Keith comes up in there. Keith is her cousin. He's staying over there at her place. So now you got 2 niggas sitting there on the couch commiserating with each other because they don't like the Emmett and Damian. And it's not necessarily that Keith don't like Emmett, because Keith got to understand he did what he needed to do in that situation, because technically speaking, you were wrong for suggesting. You did suggest that Damian take the money from the safe but replace it before Emmett had get it. So basically, you suggested that he rob him and then put it back. So what you did was wrong. And yeah, it was cause for a firing, but in my opinion, I would have just suspended him for a few days or a week or so, or doctor's pay, and then bring him back, because he really wasn't trying to, get in no shit, but he was just trying to come up with a solution for this fool. Okay, so therefore, because of that, Damian snitched on him, so he pissed off at Damian. So now he really don't give a fuck that Emmett, because Emmett, fires him. He found out that Red shot him, and he don't even give a fuck. And so, they commiserating over that. Next thing you know, Reg is talking about the fact that he need a shooter. Damian said, not Damian, but Keith said he know a shooter, but she a bitch. And I said, wait a fucking minute. What? He said, I don't do no shit like that. Like, fuck that shit. What you talking about? And of course, Reg is sexist as fuck, and he's homophobic as fuck. And he was like, Keith said, well, I mean, she just like us. Like, she like pussy too. Oh, she one of them motherfuckers? I said, what? What you mean? And he said, don't worry about that. Just know that every time she hits something, and she shoots something and never miss. So that kind of piqued his interest a little bit. Keith winds up going and talking to old girl. And, what is her name? When I saw who it was, what is her name? The shy new characters. Season 7. Episode. I used to spell episode. Never mind. Don't come for me. Cause I know that stud anywhere. Cause I used to follow her, but I had to unfollow her because she went from being she went from being regular to all of a sudden just talking about she like a motivational. It just became very superficial. I don't know. It just became annoying, so I had to unfollow her. I know her name begins with an A. Oh my God, I can't believe it. And somebody I was talking to, we was just talking about her. Like, she 40-something years old. And the bitch still look good. That lady still looked the same. My nigga still looked the goddamn same from when we saw her back in the day. Because if y'all from Chicago, and especially if you gay, she did a lot of the movies. Like, you go on Tubi, you could probably see some of her movies too. She did a lot of the little homemade, hood movies or whatever, with the lesbians and all that stuff and stud shit and whatever out here in Chicago. So that's who she is, okay? And she a nigga for real. You know what I'm saying? She don't play that shit. And so, damn, I wish I had her name. Somebody in the comments gonna tell me. But she was there. And basically, she gonna be the shooter. And so she basically proved herself that she a good shot, because when they come over to, Candace's place, they watching her play a game where it's a shooting thing and she's shooting everything and she not missing. And Reg, because let me tell you something. Sometimes with certain people, especially niggas like Reg, you talk back to them or whatever, they think they in control and all that shit. But you talk back to their ass and you put them in their place a little bit, they like that shit. And that's exactly what happened with her. And I was like, I don't give a fuck what you think. Okay? Do I got the job or not? It was like, I like you. I don't give a fuck if you like me or not. Do I got the job or not? I said, yeah, talk that talk. Let me see something. Do that shit with me too. I probably fall in love with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, put me in my place. All right? And you saw it up in Red's face. I said, calm the fuck down. Calm the fuck down. Because she not one of them psychodikes. Okay? She's not a dick taker on the side, Some of these studs out here do be taking dick on the side. I was like, oh, so just say that you're bisexual, please. Not a stud, all right? But anyway, so she's going to be a shooter. And what is this? Because they're about to go to war? What? With Nuck, Alicia, and all that stuff? Girl, and then we get into this whole situation. Okay. What else wound up happening? Damian realizing that he ain't really got nobody. He do go to, he was in a, he go to a meeting. He confessed what he did, all that stuff, whatever. He tried to text Zuri. That's Karuchi's character name that he just met last week and fucked in the bathroom. She don't answer. The 3 bubbles came up and went right away. I said, damn. And yeah, and so now you at your rock bottom, and you know that you really ain't got nobody but the people in your family, and those are the only ones that you truly can count on, and you almost fucked that up. Okay, get the shit together, get it together. And so now Emmett Dude wakes up. We already knew that was gonna happen because he is coming back for season 8, and so he wakes up, and they had to get Keisha. And the first thing that he said was Keisha. Now, this whole time, they tried to throw it up in there and tried to throw us off a little bit this season to make it seem like, is he thinking about going back to Tiffany or wanting Tiffany because, oh, it's other people that's interested in her. You got Nuck interested in her. You got Victor interested in her. And do he still got feelings or whatever? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Soon as he woke up, the person that he asked for was Keisha. Keisha come up in there, and he said, that bitch, let me tell you something, I ain't even gonna hold you. I was tearing up throughout the whole episode. I wasn't expecting it, girl. I was tearing up throughout the whole episode. And when Emmett dropped that tear, when he woke up, and then he said, will you marry me? I said, oh. The tear got me, and then when he said, will you marry me? I said, oh no, this is a trauma response. This is a trauma response because you almost lost her. I don't want them to get married off of this. I don't want this to be what causes them to get married and him to want to do this because he almost lost his life or whatever. Get past this and then, revisit it. That's what I want them to do. But I understand why this is happening, and it did touch me. It did, When it comes to Tiffany and Victor, I feel bad for Victor, but I kind of understand where Tiffany coming from a little bit. Because she finds out that Victor knew that Reg was still here, and she was like, you lied to me, you didn't tell me. And it was like, I thought we was getting to know each other. We were, but you can't be trying to get to know somebody, keeping something this big from somebody like this. And I said, damn. And that right there would have said, you know what, fuck that nigga, okay? That's another reason why you got to get the hell up out of my life. Look what you just messed up, okay? Yet again, something else. And so you got that going on. Hannibal did go over there. What? Did he go over there to the crib? No, he was texting Reginald. And, trying to get a feel in the lay of the place. So, like, where you at, what's going on, and all this stuff. And he wound up texting him his address. And he wound up texting Nuck and saying he had this address or whatever. Nuck went on ahead and gave it to Detective Toussaint. And that was that. Toussaint is out there. Outside Candace's home, just so happened to see Reg on the porch smoking. Okay, she got her pictures being taken and everything. I said, oh, okay, we moving fast, right? We moving it along. Y'all not trying to drag this shit out. Meanwhile, who else? This episode, the shit that listen, Papa, Professor, Pastor Ezekiel, Kenya and them. Girl, honestly, I don't even care about Kenya. Why Kenya come back? Kenya came back. The mama found a gun in her drawer, her dresser drawer, and she's upset. Actually, the grandma found it and then showed the mama because they was having a conversation. Because grandma was like, "You might as well go ahead and get back with Ezekiel." She was like, "Girl, listen, I am not fit to be no goddamn pastor's wife. Okay, been there, done that. Okay." Grandma found a gun up in the drawer, and she was like, "I'm gonna have to talk to her. Have to talk to Ezekiel too." They sit down there in the family room, and this is all because she got it for protection. Zay gave it to her. This is Zay's gun, and I said, "Oh my God!" So you got a gun from protection because your man, who is now deceased, gave it to you. He's in the streets, right? And maybe because she could possibly be green, but then again, like I said, she has a type. She liked the bad boys. So you willingly accepted a gun from a man that is in the streets, and it could possibly, 9 out of 10, does have bodies on it. So if you had to use that said gun, and then they do the ballistic, and it comes back to the murders of this person, that person, and that person, baby, you can go down for that shit too. Throw that shit away. I said, King, goddamn. I said, Ezekiel, you need to be a father, okay, so that she won't be out here going to these niggas like this, okay? God damn. You worrying about that white lady who basically dumped his ass. Oh, my God. So she wound up posting that picture of them. She wanted to be public. She wanted not to be a secret escape. You know, she wanted to do all of that. He said not just yet, you know, because he's getting word, and you got Charles and Papa saying don't put the shit up on social media because you're gonna lose your black followers, your parishioners, especially the black women in the congregation. And sure enough, Miss Gurley went behind his back and put the picture up, and he started losing people. Now, I did not know things had got that bad to the point where he lost the church. When we see Pastor Ezekiel first come up on the goddamn screen, he is packing up the office. I said, what? He lost the church. He tried to build up a new one. And I said, building up what? Girl, he over there at Papa's church. Papa's daddy's church. That he done broke. Mind you, remember, last week we did find out that he gave the money to Papa Mama to save the church. But now you brought the church technically, and you finna use it. Papa Mama really wasn't having that. And I really cannot stand how they doing Papa's character. Because what is this supposed to be now? What is this supposed to be? Is this supposed to be Pastor Ezekiel's, like, his little redemption arc too? Because when we first saw him, he was this cocky pastor who was just all about this prosperity gospel, getting money. You know, that's basically what he was preaching about. He had all of the goods, all of the fancy things, the big house, all of that shit, the big church. You start messing around with this white woman because you want to have and be under her daddy, who is this big, powerful white preacher or whatever. That doesn't work out. You gotta hide her. She put y'all on Front Street. You lose your parishioners, and you start losing a lot of people in your congregation to the point where you gotta move congregations because you can't, you know, you gotta start from scratch. That girl said, I'm used to a certain lifestyle. I don't have time to be going from scratch. I don't want to go from scratch. So I'll tell you this. It was cool while it lasted. I'll never forget you, and I wish you well. I said, God damn, bitch. I said, see, this is why they were telling you don't fuck with this bitch. Okay? Like, girl, she couldn't even hang in there, and this, we supposed to be together. Baby, we supposed to be in this together. You weren't fully in it. You wanted him because he was already established and he had certain stuff that you wanted. And because now he has to get that back again because he lost it. Oh, you don't want to be there and build it up? Girl, say what you want. Say what you want. A black woman would have stayed. A real one. All right. Well, staying in hell, we build our motherfuckers up if they need to. That's in our nature, you know. I said, look at this bitch just walked away. I mean, damn. In his lowest moment. I said, see, this what y'all trying to tell us, that white women are evil or some shit like that? Is that the message, Lena? What's going on? That is crazy. Why would you do that? But hey, it is what it is. And then he going over there being at Papa's daddy church. And basically, you know, he get his message about gun violence. Mind you, Nuck came over there. And he couldn't even step foot in the church. And he finally admitted to Pastor Ezekiel the reason why is because he was the one that put Papa Daddy down. Because, dude, I told him. I said, shit, bitch. Now, I'm just so... Like, it's just giving, like, this supposed to be Pastor Ezekiel's redemption arc because now he got to start all over. And so this is a way for him to start fresh and to do it better and do things differently than what he did the last time. And I'm like, I don't know. And Papa just so goddamn gullible at this point. I can't. But anyway, that was the episode, y'all. The episode was actually really good. You guys tell me how you felt about it. If I missed anything, we'll discuss it in the comments. If anybody knows how many more episodes we got, please put that down in the comments as well. How do you feel about Emmett proposing to Keisha? And then, bitch, Tiffany said, fuck Victor, and went back to texting up. I said, oh, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. When she finds out that the nigga that she's flirting with, sexting with, almost kissing with, have him looking after you and all this stuff, it's the one that killed your man, your soulmate, your baby daddy. Don't come to Victor. That's all I'm going to say. Don't come to Victor, okay? Because he gave you a chance and you pushed him away. I get it. But don't. Oh, my God. I don't want that hurt on her. Oh, don't hurt the lady like that. She's going through enough. But anyway, you guys tell me how y'all feel. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you later. Peace.